Let's talk about a feeling that, honestly, has become an epidemic. It's that feeling of being completely, utterly exhausted, but at the same time, you're so revved up you can't actually rest. If you are feeling chronically stressed, just depleted and totally burned out, then you are in the right place.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You're basically chugging coffee to get through the day, maybe you need something to wind down at night, and you're just trapped in this cycle that feels impossible to escape. But I want you to know this is not just all in your head. It is a very real, very physical thing that is happening inside your body.
And you probably heard this term before, right? Adrenal fatigue. It probably feels like the perfect way to describe this bone-deep exhaustion. It's a really popular label that totally captures that feeling of being just spent. Okay, but here's the thing. This is the crucial twist. That term, adrenal fatigue, actually misunderstands what's really going on. The root of the problem isn't that your glands have just given up on you, it's that there's a major communication breakdown happening. So let's start by just dismantling this myth. Because, understanding what's really going on is the absolute first step toward finding a solution that's actually going to work and help you feel better. So look at this. On one hand, you have adrenal fatigue. It makes it sound like your adrenal glands are just toast, like a car battery that's just run out of juice. But the more accurate term, HPA axis dysfunction, tells a totally different story. Your glands are probably fine. The real issue is with the signals they're getting from your brain. See? It's a communication problem, not an organ failure.
And that brings us to the real star of the show, your body's incredible stress command center. So let's pop the hood and see how this whole system is actually supposed to work.
The HPA axis. I know, it's a mouthful. But it's this amazing network that connects your brain to your adrenal glands. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a thermostat. It's designed to crank up the stress response when you need it, and, just as important, turn it off when the danger is gone.
And here's how that whole process works. It's a pretty simple three-step chain reaction. First, the hypothalamus in your brain spots a stressor and sends out the first signal. Then, the pituitary gland gets that message and sends a second signal down the line. And finally, your adrenal glands get that second signal, and that's their cue to produce cortisol, your main stress hormone. Now, when chronic stress starts messing with this system, you get these confusing, contradictory symptoms. And this is why it feels so disorienting. In the early stages of burnout, you might be in a high cortisol state. You're anxious, you're wired. But over time, this system can actually downregulate, leading to a low cortisol state, where you feel that deep fatigue and brain fog. It is the classic tired but wired paradox.
So how in the world do we fix this broken communication system? Well, you might be surprised. We don't start with your thoughts. We start with your body. Phase 1 is all about teaching your nervous system that the emergency is over and it's finally safe to power down. And this quote just nails it. You can't just think your way out of burnout. Why? Because your body is still physically braced for danger. We have to start from the bottom up, sending these signals of safety directly through physical sensations.
So what does this look like practically? Well, first, we handle the non-negotiables. A really solid sleep schedule and stable blood sugar. That cuts down on the physical stress signals. Then, we add in some simple physical practices to release all that stored tension and to interrupt the stress cycle in real time, right in the middle of your day.
And here's a tool you can use literally right now. It's called the 60-second exhale reset. It's a perfect example of these micro practices. So your longer exhale sends a direct message to your nervous system to calm down. It's simple, it's fast, and it is incredibly effective at stopping a stress spike in its tracks.
Okay, so once your body starts to get the memo that it's fundamentally safe, then we can move on to phase 2. This is where we address the mental patterns and that inner critic that keeps fueling the burnout cycle.
This is a total game changer. That inner critic, it's not there to hurt you. It's a protective part of you that developed, probably a long time ago, to keep you safe from things like failure or rejection. It's just a survival strategy that you now have the power to gently update.
So the process involves getting curious about these protective parts of you. Maybe you have a perfectionist or hustler and figuring out what they're truly afraid of. From there, you can start to consciously build a new supportive inner voice, we'll call it an inner steward, and learn a simple, body-first way to stop those negative thought spirals before they take over.
Now, once the body is more regulated and the mind is being rewired, we can zoom out and look at the world around you. Phase 3 is all about redesigning the external stuff, your habits, your boundaries, your schedule, all the things that keep you stuck in that burnout cycle. This right here completely reframes what a boundary is. We tend to think of them as these big, confrontational things, right? but it's way more accurate to see them as a biological tool. A boundary is really just a message you send to your own nervous system to protect your limited energy.
So the practical steps here are first to do a really honest energy audit and see where your energy is actually going. Then you find the leaks, where you're overgiving, and you use simple formulas to set calm boundaries. And finally, you redesign your schedule to work with your body's natural energy, not against it.
So, what's the goal of all this work? Where are we trying to go? It's not just about feeling less tired. It is about a fundamental shift in your identity. It's about becoming what we can call a regulated achiever.
And this just lays out the transformation so clearly. The old identity, that high-functioning anxious person, is fueled by fear and sees rest as a weakness. But the new identity, the regulated achiever, is fueled by clarity. It doesn't give up on performance, but it protects energy with the same intensity, because it understands that rest is a crucial strategy for success.
I want to leave you with a final thought that could really reframe your whole approach to work and life. You don't have to wait until the project is totally done to feel a sense of completion. You can actually learn to end each day feeling that today was enough, which allows your nervous system to truly rest and recover.
And so I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Imagine what you could create, what you could build, and what you could achieve if your drive was powered not by a frantic sense of urgency, but by a deep, grounded sense of calm and clarity. What becomes possible then?